Good evening, everybody. It is time to break bread from Luke 16. How was my day today? Well, I went back. If you saw my video yesterday, I went back to the place that I was trying to get my business license from yesterday, and how I saw everything that I thought was very unorganized, and it was. But what I learned this morning after finishing the transaction is sometimes you just have to step back, take inventory. Don't relax in what you know is right, but just make sure you don't respond to get yourself overwhelmed with what's going on. And then pray and ask God for the wisdom to know how to bring or speak about modifying those things so that it can get better. So the bottom line is, when you see something wrong, it's better to don't get yourself all inflated over something that all you have to do is pray about and then find steps in order to bring correction to make it better, because it definitely needs to be better. So that's what I learned today. I went and I was very quiet, and I just kind of sat back and watched, and then you have more wisdom. I guess that's when the word says, when you see a plank in your brother's eye and you got a beam and you have a mote in your eye, then you remove the mote from your eye, then you'll know how to clearly see how to get the plank out of your brother's eye. So the bottom line is, make sure you see clearly before you try to straighten things out, if that can resolve anything. All right, let's break bread. Jesus said, and he took bread, and he blessed it, and he broke it, and he gave it, and everybody ate. And then he took the cup and he said, "This is my blood, and this shed for you. Now go activate the flesh, go activate the bread." I like to say that every day because it just kind of set things in perspective when I get ready to read the word. All right, Luke 16:1, let's break bread here. And he said also unto his disciples, there was a certain rich man. So this is not given that it's a parable. He's talking about there was a certain rich man, which had a steward. He had somebody that worked for him. And the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. So the word got around to the rich man, like they always do. You do something, somebody will report you, whether they let you know it or not. And it got back to the guy that owned everything and said, you got this guy that's wasting your stuff. So he called him and said unto him, how is it that I hear this of you? How is it that I'm hearing people tell me that you're not doing right by me? He said, give an account of your stewardship. Tell me how you've been doing. You tell me. Let me hear you say it. And at the same time, for thou mayest be no longer steward. I just want to hear what you got to say, but I've already made my mind. I'm getting ready to let you go. It's not up for debate. Then the steward said within himself, what shall I do? For my Lord taketh away from me the stewardship. I can't dig. I can't. And I'm too proud to beg. And he was saying that within himself. So he said, I got to resolve something to do. I have to come up with a plan. What am I going to do when I'm put out of the stewardship? I mean, he gave me a few days to clear my desk. They may receive me into their houses. I got to come up to something. Let me see. Now, what did he say? I am resolved what to do. That when I am put out of the stewardship, they may receive me into their houses. So this guy's coming up with a plan. So he got his phone. And he said, let me call some of these folk that owes him debt, in debt to him. He called me and he said, to the first, how much, hey, George, this you, how much do you owe my Lord? How much you owe him? 100 measures of oil. I tell you what, take that bill and sit down quickly and just give me 50 of it. Just give me half of it. Yeah, I'll take half of it. Okay, I'm putting you down for half, all right? So you owed him 100. Now you ain't got to call him and tell him. I'm just letting you know. Just give me half of that. All right, I'll call you back. Thank you. All right. Then say he to another, and how much? Hold on. Hey, is John there? How I'm looking at your bill now. I'm trying to make sure I got everything right. How much you owe? You got 100 measures or 100 measures a week. I tell you what, take that bill. I'm gonna take 20% of it off. So you just owe me 4 scores, which is 80. All right. All right. Okay. All right. I'm writing it down. Today's date. Now you know you got to pay it today, right? Okay. I got you. Hey. Talk to you later. You good? I'm good for it. Yeah, that's 80. No problem. All right. Okay. Bye. And the Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. Now, what does that really mean? All right, here's this guy already let go from doing the same stuff. But he was like, I'm into this. So he got fired from his position, lost his job for not doing right by his rich lord, his landlord, or his boss. And this guy said, no, I'm too proud to beg, and I just got to come up with a plan. This guy did all of that. Let's see what this says in 16:8. And the Lord commended the unjust steward. Unjust, now he's not right, because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. So what is Jesus saying right here? When a man is dedicated, whether it's right or wrong, truly carries the tenacity or carry the passion, because he was already doing the wrong thing. And in the world's way of doing things, they don't have to give an account. They just have to come up with another scheme. So this guy worked entirely. I mean, he did wrong, got caught, thought about a plan, implemented the plan, and then the boss had to come back and say, you know what, one thing I can say, you're not lazy. You're low down, but the one thing I can say, you're true to your trade, your craft. You did exactly, if you worked as hard doing wrong as you did right, you could own this company. You'll be richer than me. So the word is saying that the children of light, if we would put that much time to do the work, get corrected, instead of like him, do better, because sometimes you got to be corrected, and don't quit, because this guy showed I don't quit. I may be wrong, but one thing I am not lazy. Instead, we get the word, we know where to find the solutions, but we just don't have time to be that serious about what we say. And God used this parable this story or this truth just to let us know that if we get behind him, the way this guy did what he had to do to survive, and still knowing that his destination is not where anybody wants to go. He said, we put as much time as this guy did in doing something wrong, what would happen to this world if we put that much energy in doing the right thing? And I say unto you, make to yourself friends of the mammon of unrighteousness. He said, I'm going to tell you something. Learn something from them. Make friends with folk like that. You said make friends of the mammon. I mean, make friends with mammon. And mammon is, I know a lot of people identify it as being money. But it's not just money. It's money. But it's money that God has already said is tainted. Now, how is money tainted when he tells us to make friends with folk that got it? Well, when I was thinking about this, I said, okay, now $1 value in the United States is different valued of the same dollar, and is lesser valued in some countries. For instance, Europe. I know at one time the euro and the dollar did not match. And you just go to different countries, and then some countries, the dollar, a United States dollar, is exaggerated. People really want it because it values so much in their country. So the weight of a dollar is not consistent across the board. And God knows. He knows everything. He knows the hairs on your head, and he knows where we're being taken advantage of, and we're just not paying attention. So he calls it mammon because it's been touched by man. I can't call it the true riches because it's not. His word is the same in every continent. The value of whatever God says, it doesn't change its weight. So he says, y'all, that's what y'all deal with. And I gave you the authority to deal with money. I don't like the way you're doing it, but that's the system. I get the system, but I don't want to call it money. I want to call it mammon. And I said unto you, make to yourself friends of the mammon. So there's no need of trying to get away from it. You're going to need people in this life. And everybody is not going to be the ones that you can necessarily go to and talk word with them. So he said, be acquainted, be associated. He said, I didn't say call him your brother. I said, make friends. And then he said, that when you fail, when you go through hard times, something does not work for you, that you might be received like this guy into everlasting habitation. So there's no need of going to a place making everybody mad, because at the same time, once you get through, you're going to need these folks, because this is just kind of where we live right now. And then who knows that your relationship with them being a friend, you may gain a brother. But he said, in other words, if a friend or somebody want to take you to court, he said, agree with your adversary quickly. I mean, try to talk him out of taking you, because it's no need of going there if you don't have to. So he said, I just don't want you to be, because this is the world system, and I know that you're here and in the process of you learning who I am, you're going to be dealing with people that won't do right. He said, but don't make them your enemy. I knew the guy that was getting ready to trade me in and go behind my back, and I still said, Judas, friend. I still called him what he was, because that's what I am to him. So what I'm saying is, he said in this verse, Luke 16:9, and I saw different commentators say different things, but I rest my case by saying, and I say unto you, make to yourself friends of the mammon, of unrighteousness. That means he clearly saying, be friends with folk that are not right, that's dealing with money. Might as well, that when you fail at that time, like again, I said, you will fall on some hard times, and you're going to need somebody that they may receive into everlasting habitation. It's not talking about going to heaven, in my opinion. This is not talking about when you die and where you're going to spend eternity. It's like, this is how it is on earth, point blank, period. Luke 16:9. Luke 16:9. And I say unto you, make to yourself friends to the mammon of unrighteousness, that when you fail, they may receive you into everlasting habitation. I just went over that. 10. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. So if you check a person out and he's not doing right in a small thing, he's not going to do right because you gave him a greater assignment. He said, if you're faithful in that which is least, you'll be faithful also in much. Let me try that again. Luke 16:10. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. So if you watch a person and watch how they do the smallest assignment, they'll be good at the large one. If you find somebody that will be faithful and what they do that nobody's watching, they'll do the same thing when somebody's watching. Faithfulness. And he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. If you won't pay me $5 back, there's no need of me lending you 50. If you didn't pay me $5 back, that's an indicator not to loan you 50, not an expected back. The word says, if you don't be faithful in that thing that is small, you won't be faithful in those things that are great. And we ignore this scripture because I just want to give him one more chance, because I'm going to try him. He's still going to do you in. That word. People have to change. Their minds have to change in order for you to say, I can trust you now. You don't see the sign and then just go beyond the sign and then you crying because it didn't work out. It did work out. It was already worked out. You just ignored all of the details. All right. If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon. He said, now if I give you earthly money and you won't do right by that, why would I commit my trust in my riches? Why would I give you a revelation knowledge of anything and you won't even do right with the things that you touch, the man-made stuff? Why would I give you kingdoms things, assignments, when you won't even do right with those assignments that are just every day in dealing with human beings? So I see it like if you're faithful as a teacher and you come to work, you do your job, and you show forth what is supposed to be shown as a good teacher, then I can see God said, I want to use you on a different level. When he saw Peter and John and James fishing, they were already out working. He said, I'd like to invest in you. Come follow me. He saw Matthew as a tax collector. Didn't matter what they were doing. One was catching fish, one was doing taxes. You said, well, taxes wasn't the right thing, but he was at work. So if you would like God to trust you in doing those things for him, he said, well, let me see what you're doing for others. What are you doing for other people that I can trust you to do something for me? All right, because he said, I got great benefits. And if you have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own? He said, I can't let you, if you don't do right that with other people's stuff, why would I give you your own? The only way God said I can watch you and put my investment in you is I got to see how you handle others, and then I'll let you have your own. If you didn't take care of the apartment, why would I give you the money to buy a house? You didn't take care of the apartment. So these are things that we can examine ourselves by, as well as how we trust other people and how they do things. So you can either look at yourself and change, and then you can say, I can look at how these people do things, whether I want to do business with them, because they're showing us all the signs. We make mistakes, and I don't know whether we make mistakes. I think we make mistakes. Yes, we do. But I think a lot of times we just don't want to do the work that is required to, investigate before you decide to make a deal. Like the word says, in the 15th chapter, he said, when a man goes to war, when a king goes to war, he has to check out who he's getting ready to fight. And if you're getting ready to buy a house, and I've done this more than once, it's best to check out everything and then make the purchase, rather than, I want this and I got to have it, and then get it. Then you got to do all of your work now that you should have done before you made that purchase. Now you have to pay for the house and then deal with the stuff that you could have been avoided. He said, no servant can serve two masters. Nobody can serve two masters. You can't. But either he will hate the one and love the other. There's no way you're going to love both. Impossible. Or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. So you have to make a decision. Am I going to do it God's way, or am I going to do it the world's way? The tainted way. So if I make myself to submit to God, then I know how to handle when it comes down to man. But I can't try to please men and God at the same time. It'll never work. Impossible. And the Pharisees also were covetous, heard all these things, and they derided him. In other words, they detested what he was saying, because they knew that's what they were all about. They didn't want to do right. I don't want you trying to tell us to do right with all these folk that are not Jews, and you trying to make us be like them. I don't care if I am wrong. I'm not going to be like them. Then Jesus said, okay, then my word stands. That's your choice. And he said unto them, ye are they which justify yourselves before men. You like to look right before people, but God knows your heart. God knows what's on the inside of you. For they which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in the sight of God. Anytime man is giving you a lot of accolades, just know that it's the opposite with God. If men trust you, then you need to see whether what you're doing wrong. It is no way men would make you known and it pleases God. God said, if they giving you all the accolades, I'm not. And at the end of the day, who you think got the last word? The lights or the light? The lights being what the enemy had planned for you, or the light, which is the word of God. He said in the 16th verse, the law and the prophets were unto John. He said, so we had all the way from the law, from Moses all the way up into John. Since that time, the kingdom of God is preached. He said, after John, then I came with the kingdom, telling you how to change and to repent and let's do things right. And he said, everybody that hear me, press into it. I don't see nobody trying to get, even if they don't want to do what I say, they do what I say do. They following up behind me because they love the truth. And he said, I'm just telling you, ever since I've been talking about this kingdom, it is attractive and it is right and people want it. And it is easy for heaven and earth to pass. He said, this whole earth, all the planets, the stars, the moon, everything. It's easier for that to pass than one little bitty tittle of the law to fail. He said, everything that comes out of my mouth will be as I said. And you think about losing the whole earth and everything in the earth, that's easy to get rid of than to get rid of one of my words. Just one. He said, I'm talking about if it's a comma behind something I said, if I paused, if I was silent, everything that I said or do or did, that's how great everything that I said, that's how important it is to know my word. Whosoever putteth away his wife and married another committeth adultery. He said, if you put your wife away and then you marry somebody else, he said, you commit adultery. And whosoever married her that is put away from her husband commits adultery. So he said, if you want a mess, I looked at the 18th verse and I was like, okay, how does this fit into behaving right by money and behaving right by, what is going on in the other scriptures between verse 1 and 17, and then 18 plugs in. All of a sudden he's talking about whosoever putteth away his wife and marries another committed adultery, and whosoever marrieth her that is put away from her husband commits adultery. I'm not sure how that ties together. I'm going to leave it right there, because until he gives me an understanding clearly, because I've learned over time that if God can trust you with leaving this alone, then, oh my God, look at that. If I put something in this scripture and you don't touch it, then I give you something that you can touch, and you understand how I flow. That's not to be touched, and I submit and stand. And I know this is not the least, but it's something that I know that I cannot put my hand on. So I'm not. He put it there, I read it, and that's it. I'm not going to try to fix it. I'm not going to try to say that's what he meant. It is what it is. Going to the next verse. He can trust me to say, if I don't tell you what to say on it, just don't say nothing, just read it. That's what I'm going to do. Next verse. There was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day, ate good every day, fine food every day. Oh my God. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate, full of sores. So you got somebody laying outside your house, you eating fine every day. And there's a human being laying outside your house on the ground, just waiting on you. Just can you give me, you know I'm out here. You see me. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which laid at his gate full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. I just want what you got. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. One was immediately passed from death to life, and the other one was buried. One was passed from death to life. Even though you might have buried him, but the word said he passed from death to life. That's an indicator. I'm telling y'all that words, it is what it is. And in hell, the rich man lift up his eyes, being in torment. He was buried, but he went to hell. And he said, I'm so hot, it's so hot. And he sees Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. Is that Lazarus? It's the same one that you saw when you was eating good every day. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue. Have you ever been in a position where you were so hungry, just a morsel of food satisfied that quest for food? This guy said, I'm so hot until if you just dip your hand in just drop it in there, just you don't even have to give me a drink of water. Just take your finger and just drop it in there, in that water. Just one drop and just pop it at me like that. It'll cool my tongue. For I am tormented in these flames. Wait, they're like what? But Abraham said, son, that means you knew better because I call you son. Remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. Did I tell you that the first gonna be last and the last gonna be first? Whatever position, I'm just saying that all I'm saying is it's different now. It's the same, but you on the other side, and Lazarus with me. And you know I eat good. And besides all this, he said, I can't send Lazarus to you. We don't have transportation to get that far down there. Between you and us, there's a great gulf fixed. God got this thing planned so you can't even, it ain't no way you can swim across. There's nobody can get from where you are to where we are. So that they which would pass from here to you cannot. It's nobody's, it's a great gulf. There's no airplane, no boat, no climate, no nothing. It's fixed like that. Neither can they pass to us that would come from there. In other words, there's no more traveling. You sit to where you are, and Lazarus sit to where he is. And I hear you, but ain't nothing I can do. I mean, I can see you too. Then he said, I pray thee therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house. He said, I'll tell you what. He may not be able to come to me, but tell him to go to my father's house. For I have 5 brothers, that they may testify unto them. Let him tell them, lest they also come into this place of torment. He said, just send Lazarus over there to my brothers. Just get them. I don't want, I mean, I know, I should just tell my brother don't come here. Abraham said unto him, they have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. They got Moses and the prophets. So let them hear them. And he said, nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. He said, I'm telling you that if they know Lazarus dead, they got to hear him because he's coming from the dead. And he said unto him, Abraham did, if they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. Is that true? We live to know what Abraham said. How many people still don't believe? And he rose, past tense, from the dead. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Luke 16. 17 coming up.